Is it true that only the rich can afford to become a pilot?
Unfortunately, middle class family or an above middle class family can afford this training.
What if, for whatever reasons, they are unable to get into the cadet?
I have seen people who are above 32, 33 also cracking cadet pilot programs. That you have got through cadet, your training will just go back tuck 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 tuck. No.
So when we talk of budget, how much are we talking about, like for Serbia and Maldives?
So like in Maldives, in the range of 50 to 55 lakh rupees, we will be able to done everything. Everything means everything, accommodation, food and everything. And in Serbia, I think it's a experience which everyone should really explore, I would say.
Hi guys, welcome to Golden Epaulettes Aviation podcast by pilots for pilots, where we dive deep into everything from training, flying, and everything in between. And we have here Captain Deval Soni. Hi, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Great.
So we'll start with the basics of becoming a pilot.
Yeah.
Is it true that only the rich can afford to become a pilot?
I really don't know what is the definition of rich. Okay. But as far as what I know is, yes, unfortunately, a middle class family or an above middle class family can afford this training. However, those who are still not middle class, it is really difficult for them because the investment involved, is for CPL training is approximately barely minimum. Even if you do it from India or abroad, is approximately 60 lakhs. That is the bare minimum I'm talking about. And after that, type rating investment is also bare minimum is 15 lakh. So in totality, it's 75 to 80 lakhs you have to invest. So people who are not in the middle class category also, it's really tough for them, and I really feel for them sometime. However, there are some scholarship, especially for girls. Honda is giving, scholarship for girls. And I think last year, if I'm not wrong, they have given scholarship to 10 girls last year. So, and if students, the candidate is SCST, I think some few state governments are also giving them a scholarship. And Tata also gives some scholarship for those meticulous students. However, they have to undergo some selection process. And I think these are the few options which a student can explore if they can really, afford this training. And the one of the advantage of the cadet pilot program is that you initially get a letter of intent. So with this letter of intent, if any student goes to a bank, banks is so happy to give them a loan because it is job guaranteed. So they know that banks know that, you have a job and you will be getting a salary after your training and you will be paying, back the EMIs. So I think those students, and financially not very comfortable, investing this much, I think letter of intent from the airlines can really help and solve this big problem, and especially like if you have the letter of intent from Air India, you may get a 50 lakhs of unsecured loan also without keeping any collateral. So I think it can solve a problem for many aspiring pilots, those who are really wants to be a pilot, those are really passionate about it but couldn't afford it. Their parents couldn't afford it. That's one thing. Okay, so hence I think the letter of intent of Air India or for Indigo, I think can really solve the problem, the financial problem for many, those who are really want to be a pilot, those who are really skilled, competent students. So I think uh, they should have a fair chance to become a pilot.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like, what if for whatever reasons they are unable to get into the cadet? How much percentage of loan would you recommend a student should take from bank? Like 30%, 40%? What do you think is the ideal percentage if they are relying on a loan?
So I think it depends. I would not like to give any standard answer to this because it depends on every family, individual thought process. So I think if you have the money already in account, take lesser loan. But it's like if you want to give this responsibility, more and more responsibility to your kids, your children's to repay the loan, then you may, think over those lines. So I think it depends on the family thought process.
Okay.
If I have to do it, I would, in that case, would love to give more responsibility to my children's so that they becomes, it should be in their head that they have to, repay the loan back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But again, it depends. Yeah.
So now when we talk of getting the letter of intent, do the cadets who are enrolled with either Air India or Indigo or any cadet program, do they get a job right after their training that they would start paying, or do they have to wait for a certain period of time before they can start earning?
Yeah. So thank you for asking this. So, a lot of people ask me this. And I think when you enter into this aviation industry on this field, you need to have triple P, you need to have a lot of patience, you need to have a lot of persistence and a lot of perseverance. Okay. So don't, assume that you have got through cadet. Your training you will just go back, tuck, 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 tuck. No. Okay. You may have to wait. You may have to wait maybe after your ground training. You may have to wait to to join your flying training. After flying training, then type rating, then after type rating, then again training in the airline. So don't expect that everything will be back to back. There can be a delays. Okay, that's one thing, and this is a part of the training in aviation. So you have to be mentally ready with this.
So is the bank going to pressure them with something later whenever they are done with the training, or do they have enough time to start paying back?
Yeah, that's thank you once again. Um, as per the bank's loan policy, the students are liable to pay the EMIs only after certain period of completion of their training. So let's say as per the bank policy, you are supposed to start your EMIs, let's say after 1 year of your training. Okay. So because they understand, that student cannot start earning money just right after the training.
For sure. So that's enough time for them to manage everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a monthly EMI. Even then, let's say even it's a further delayed, I'm sure when you have reached up to this level, I think monthly EMIs can be paid. And even then you can write it to the bank also, because it happens to me. I do remember when it was our time to start paying the EMIs, and when I was not able to, then I wrote a letter to a bank that I need some extra time to start my EMIs, and bank happily agreed to it because they were knowing the situation well.
That's great. In that case, they are understanding then.
Absolutely. Sometimes things go beyond your control.
For sure,
So however, we had to pay the interest, but banks are fine with that.
And what if someone's like really, really lower middle class, for example, like they really just can't afford, but they are very, very passionate towards becoming a pilot? Is there anything they can do?
Yeah, so they can join NDA or they can join CDS after serving for a short commission. Then they can, the airlines will be happy to absorb them.
So NDA, CDS, what are these?
So that's
exactly?
a National Defense Academy and Combined Defense,
services.
Okay. So then they can join defense. Okay. And then, defense pilots. And after serving for, for a short commission, and then they can join the commercial aviation, and the airlines are really happy to
So they would get
to
admitted.
absorb them. Yeah, in airlines also, so many defense pilots were flying. Yeah, so
Okay.
that is one of that's one of the way. And I have seen many aspiring pilots also, because they can't afford, they start working. I have seen a lot of cabin crews. Recently I met a cabin crew. He came to office and met me. I was so impressed with this boy. You know what he told me? It's been close to 2 years now. He have joined as a cabin crew, and when he started coming, when he started work as a cabin crew, and whenever he used to visit the cockpit, he used to feel that I should also grow as an individual. He started, seeing the life as like, we should also grow here.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
inspiration that comes
inspiration
from
to
it,
become a
yeah.
pilot. And from that day, he is doing a 30,000 ka SIP
To save up for
to
becoming a
save up
pilot.
to become a pilot.
That's amazing.
Okay. So I was so impressed with his authenticity, with his, he was so honest. And I would say the same thing, to all the working professionals as well. If you are looking to explore this, field, if you want to be a pilot, and I think start saving some money, keep accumulating funds, and maybe probably you can help your parents, in this.
Yeah.
And one more thing, Aditi, like those students, those who are in 10th standard, 9th standard, 11th and 12th standards, maybe parents can also, if you find your children are really passionate, really serious about being a pilot, I think parents can also do some financial planning, slightly earlier. So if let's say if your child is in 10th standard, so you have 3 years, so accordingly you can plan. All the parents can plan their financials so that it will help your kids, just after year 12th. And anyways, your money is not going in one shot. Okay. So anyways, the student have to take a baby step. So let's say just after 12th, they will be doing class 2 medical. Then they will be doing ground classes, computer number, and class 1 medical. So this process will also take 6 to 8 months. Okay. And then the money is going in installments. See, no flying club is taking all the money in one shot. So it's going in installments. Even the typewriting investment is also after 1.5 years, or after you finishing your CPL only.
Yeah, after getting your license.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The entire money is not going in one shot. Okay. So maybe you can start accumulating some funds. You can keep flying trainings, because I have seen a lot of students, they are accumulating funds, doing some flying training in India, accumulating funds, doing some flying training in India. They are doing flying in installments,
Okay.
as in when they have
But
the money.
does that not hurdle the process? Like you not going in a flow for the flying? Is it like, does it make it more complicated in any way?
But what can they do actually?
Yeah, that is true.
Because
as
they
well.
don't have money in altogether.
Yeah.
So they have to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate them. They are accumulating funds, doing flying training.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that come to me as well asking if they would have to leave their job.
Yeah.
To like for the flying training, for the ground classes. So I really don't know like what to tell them, because job is important and they need to save that money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what I personally feel is that it is difficult to take it along, like doing your job, and then because flying requires a lot of attention, a lot of energy. So being able to do something side by side is not very easy, I would say. But then if you have to, you have to. That is the passion.
So I'll tell you my story in this. When I was working in a corporate, okay, and I started working in Bangalore in one of the IT company, and in 3 months only realized कि बाबा ये मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा. This is not my cup of tea. And because aviation, being a pilot, was in my head, when I started exploring this, and I was not liking my corporate life, those 9 to 6, job, I really become serious about this. And then at the same time, I was working. I was researching about this. I applied for a US visa. My US visa got refused twice. And I was still working. So I don't know. I was not been able to focus in any of the thing. Okay. And continuously my process was getting delayed and delayed because I was in two boats. Okay. And I was still like, karu, nahi karu. I have a job. I have a good job. Will get settled in abroad because most of my friends are settled. I mean, well settled in abroad. They're in IT companies and they are settled in Europe and America and all those countries. They're doing so well. But I changed my career. I switched my career, I think I did well.
So
I
at what age did you switch your career?
24.
24 is still pretty decent. So there are people who are like 30 now or maybe 34. So like, would you recommend them to get into the field?
I would say yes.
They can?
I think yes. I think Cadet Pilot program, like Indo Cadet Pilot program, they allow up to the age of 35 years.
Up to 35.
Yes.
So they
I
still
think
have time.
They still have a time. If they are really, not enjoying their corporate life, they are not enjoying their work-life balance and this 9 to 6 job. If they are
Yeah.
not enjoying, I'm not against it. I was not enjoying it.
Yeah,
I
no,
was
they're
not been
very,
able to
very
relate to
passionate.
it.
They are very passionate about it.
Yeah.
But it's just that what's stopping them is their age. They think that, because everybody else is coming right after their 12th, so they would be comparatively elder to those people. And then what if the airlines are preferably choosing younger ones more? Like the fresh, youthful people more over the 30, 34 years one. So is that true? Like, do they have any age criteria with the airlines?
So, Aditi, I have seen people who are above 32, 33 also cracking Cadet Pilot programs. Okay. And Cadet Pilot program in this age criteria solves the problem for many. If you get through, you got a job.
Yeah. So you really recommend Cadet Pilot programs?
No, I would say, I would tell to everyone who are like at the age of 32, 33 or above 30, try for a Cadet Pilot program. If you get selected, you have a job.
Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. You are not investing your money in CPL training also, no?
Yeah.
Okay. So at least you can try there.
Yeah.
What is the harm in that?
Exactly. At least give your shot.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you really have a fear, like what if you don't get into, don't worry. I mean, this can be, you can be trained on this. Okay. Yeah.
So have you had any students who are comparatively like older than the others? Do they feel uncomfortable training with the younger ones?
So,
there's like a generation gap, 18-year-olds and then 30-year-old. It would be a little off.
Yeah. So, I mean, they do, and in fact, even I was also, like sometime uncomfortable in the batches because when I went for my flying training, everybody was, 18 and I was one of those, like, not all of them were 18 or 17, but very few were graduates and, all those things. So even I also used to feel, uncomfortable with, I also used to feel, these guys are so, young, they'll get preference or something like that. But trust me, it's not the case. Okay. And in fact, a lot of our students also are, working professionals and they are switching their career. Many of them are above 30 also. So definitely, I mean, they have a very bright chance and they have to see where they will be more happier after 10 years, after 15 years, remain in the corporate life or being a pilot.
Yeah, the bigger picture.
The bigger picture, the lifetime picture. Where do they actually relate to themselves? Okay.
Feel happy doing something.
Yeah. So my friends, all my, my Manipal friends, I mean, they really appreciate me, I'm in the back of this thing whenever we do a call or, this thing. Ki yaar, tune risk liya and I think you made it. Yeah. And I really feel proud about it, Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, if we see the other side of the coin, there are some people who are still in 12th maybe and they think maybe getting a graduate degree would do them better. Is it that way in any sense? Like maybe a degree can help them get a job faster or something?
No, like I have trained approximately, so far in last 17.5 years, I've trained 4,500 plus pilots so far.
Congratulations on that first.
Yeah. So, graduation, I mean, now if you see, if in the airlines or the DGCA, there is no mandate requirement. Okay. They want minimum age 18 years to be a CPL. Okay. And airlines, whenever they come with a vacancy, there is no requirement that graduation or nothing like that. So it doesn't matters to them at all. Okay. So they treat everyone equal. They have a skill set. They do a stage 1 or let's say an entrance exam. Okay. Whoever clears that, whoever goes to all the stages and clear the selection process, airline will take them. Simple.
Yeah.
So
So, but do you personally feel that if
no.
a student is coming right after 12th, or if they're coming after the graduate degree, do you see a difference in their skills or in their personality in any way?
Yeah, that I do see. Like the people who are working in a corporate, or those graduate engineers, they are better at effective communication. Okay, and then they're better at conversations.
Hmm.
But otherwise, everybody is
Is
almost the
it
same.
tameable? Like, what if a person is right after 12th? So,
Hmm.
can they train themselves? Like, how important are these skills? Like, how important is fluency in English, effective communication, decision making? Like, does this entire thing hold a lot of value when you're getting like going for an airline interview or a cadet interview,
So
or
yeah,
they let it go?
so some basic skills are required at the time of interview. However, these skills are continuously being improvised in the entire journey. Okay. Let's say decision making, for example. Okay. Now at 17 years or 18 years boy who have not seen much of the life, has always
Exactly.
been under the cover of their parents, have got a good life, have not taken a lot of important or the major decision makings. So once they do ground training, once they do this flying training, then they are taught decision making on a continuous basis. Let's say, for example, let's say after takeoff the engine got failed, what will you do?
Yeah,
Okay.
even the experiences from flying really add on to that.
Absolutely. I think those flying training taught you a lot. A lot. It makes you a man.
For sure. Or a woman.
Or a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we have already come to flying, this is still the biggest question in every aspiring pilot's journey. I mean, what would you recommend? Like, what place would you recommend flying at? India or abroad? Is there any difference?
Yeah. So I would say I personally like abroad more. Okay. However, there are some few good flying clubs in India, like Chimes Aviation Academy, which has got #1 ranking as well. So, and there are some few other flying clubs also, which are good in India. However, I mean, abroad, there are more likely chances of getting a good quality standard flying training. Okay. Like Europe. Okay. Like in Serbia, that's a very good, flying club. Um, it's in Serbia. It's 100-year-old government flying club. They have got 3 runways. They have close to 18 single engine aircraft. They have got a multi engine aircraft, and it's the weather conditions, the exposure, and the SOPs. It's the people are very warm, and they're very quality, and I mean focused. So I think that's one of the flying club which I also personally have visited. I think one of my favorite flying club. And Maldives also, those who are I mean really want to save money, and those are really stretching their budget. I think Maldives also provides a good solution.
So, when we talk of budget, how much are we talking about, like for Serbia and Maldives?
So like in Maldives, in the range of 50 to 55 lakh rupees, we will be able to done everything means everything, accommodation, food and everything. And in Serbia, 60 to 62 lakh rupees you'll be sorted with everything. Yeah.
But the whole idea of being able to get the European exposure is, or like an international exposure in general, is really good.
As I think it's a experience which everyone should really explore, I would say, you know. And European experience has always been such a nice experience. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And where did you do your flying from?
I did it from Philippines.
So is that also recommended?
So I would say do a thorough check on the flying club. Okay, it's more of a flying club rather than a country. Okay, yeah.
Okay, but then there were recent doubts about Philippines being blacklisted by DGCA, a lot of scams happening. Is that true?
So the DGCA doesn't blacklist a country. DGCA can blacklist a flying club if they are not DGCA compliant. Okay, in a way, if the flying training or all sort of rules, regulations or flying is not been done as per the Indian DGCA course. Okay, so DGCA was not recognizing the flying which was done in such a manner from these flying clubs. Yeah.
Okay. So when we talk of the DGCA standards, what are the standards that a student should be looking for when they are, choosing a flying school for them?
Yes. So students should look for various parameters while choosing a flying club, like what is the student instructor ratio, what is the student aircraft ratio, then
Whether do you think?
weather, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, very important. The exposure in terms of traffic, in terms of airspaces, in terms of facilities for approaches, like do they do ILS or they do VR approaches or they do GPS approaches, and where do they go for cross countries, and the legacy of the flying club as well. How old is the aircraft, and speak to the alumni if you can. Okay, that's very important. Yeah. And what else do you think, Aditi?
For me personally, I think that if you're going abroad for your training, it just adds on to the exposure and experience as well.
Yeah,
Because you get like a lot more liberty to fly when
yeah,
you're going abroad. And
right.
training is like flying training is considered to be the most fun part of it.
Yeah, yeah,
So if you get all that liberty to fly wherever you want for your cross countries, you have
yeah,
like, after your solo, after your PPL, you are good to go wherever you want. So
absolutely.
you can explore places, and
Yeah,
that also gives you a lot of flying experience. Like
absolutely.
you know how to deal with situations.
Yeah, yeah.
So your basics are set for later on stages.
Yeah, because I've heard students flying in abroad. I mean, it happens in India also, but mostly in abroad, people once they are released, as a solo, once they have a PPL, they just start the aircraft, they go for, solo cross countries. So I think that kind of freedom, teaches you a lot.
Yeah.
That's more there in abroad.
So for people who are choosing to go abroad or even pursue from India itself, do you think fluency in English adds on?
I would say your communication should be effective. Okay, you may not be fluent enough, that is fine, but you should be able to speak, listen, and understand. You know, but yes, that's very important these days. Airlines are looking communication as one of the important skills. Yeah.
When you train your cadets, what do you think is more important? Like, do you see or mark them on their effective communication more or on their confidence more? Like, do they have to be more confident, or if their English is good, they're good to go?
So I would say both. Okay. I have seen students, those who are good at effective communication, but they don't know that they are good at effective communication, and they still feel underconfident. And I think everybody in this world feel underconfident in some or other stage in their life. Okay, nobody is like 100% confident in throughout the life or everywhere all the time. Okay, so and it happens with students also. Like I feel underconfident about some few things which I feel like I'm not good at. I have to still work on this particular skill. So the same goes for students also. Some students, they are good at communication, but they still doesn't know either they're good enough to clear the cadet or the entire the ALS selection process. So it's very important. So we need to build the confidence in them. Okay, that yes, you are good so far. Yes, but this is a shortcoming. It can be worked upon. Okay, but students, uh, those who are not good at effective communication, they really have to build this. Okay, especially those students who are in school or doing their college and they want to become a pilot, start working on your effective communication. If you use a lot of fillers, which comes because of not having too much of clarity, and you can watch a lot of English movies initially with subtitles and later on start removing subtitles. So I think that can really help you and will make you more confident. I have seen students, like when they join us and after enrolling for our courses, I have seen after 3-4 months they have shown a splendid, becomes better at personalities, confidence, communication. Like I know one of the student, he joined for Emirates, and he was not, not been able to speak in English at all. But now he have improved a lot in last few 8 to 9 months, and I was so shocked. He's riding Emirates, he's going for Fly Dubai, he's going for Air Arabia, his interviews are lined up, and he has become so polished. He started working on himself, and I was so impressed.
So, when you train cadets like these, I mean, what exactly do you do to build their confidence? Like,
Yes.
how is it different? Like, how do you see the difference in them?
Yeah. So what I do is, first thing I do is I gauge their thought process. I just try to understand what level of clarity do they have to become a pilot. Okay. Are they just random? They have a random thought to be a pilot, or they are really serious, passionate about being a pilot. And even then, if they are just exploring this field, that is also okay. Okay. So first thing I look for is honesty. I look for authenticity, and I look for raw and natural people. Okay. Those who are clear here. And then the journey starts. Okay. Of training them. Then I try to build, or we as a team try to build a lot of skills. Okay. Like through our multitasking, skills, through their flying skills, through their cognitive skills, and then they get trained on the group activities, personal interviews. And what I wish I would also have this facility at my time, because I failed my Indigo interview. And when I gave my interview, after finishing my interview, I was like, yes, I did it. And it was so good. But after a few days, I got a rejection email. And I was like, shit, man, my interview was good. How can I fail my interview? And then I spoke to one of my, friend who was flying as an Indigo. And he asked me, okay, you tell me exact whatever you remember, what did you answer in the interview? And I told him. He said, Deval, you did a mistakes. And I was like, yeah, nobody actually, I was not doing this. So this is what actually I do. I think a lot of blunders, a lot of mistakes which students can do in the interviews or the group activity, we try to eliminate that. Those negative words, those negative sentences which they utter in the group activity, the interviews, I think it can do a lot of wonders.
Got it. So I've also seen some of your Instagram stories about active learning, promoting promoting this new type of learning in your
Yeah.
masterclass.
Yeah.
Do you mind telling me what is it all about?
I will love to tell you about this, and this is one thing which I really want to bring it to the to this aviation world, and to the airlines also. And I would love to request all the airlines, all the flying clubs, all the ground training academies to have a system in which students can really do an engagement kind of learning. Like the trainers are not just an instructor, they are more of a facilitator. When now who is a best trainer, the better trainers? Those who make the student as a trainers. That's what I believe in. Okay, so if you make them really competent, if you really make them skilled, that later on they learned in such a way that they would know how to research, they would know how to extract the material from, let's say, FCOM, let's say from operating manual, which they will study in airlines. So I think they will the student feel empowered, ki, yeah, now I can really learn myself. Okay, now I know how to study. So what we do is, like, let's say, for example, Captain Avdesh also, in his classes, in his CPL classes, he do a lot of fun, lot of quizzes, lot of team-based activities, and I do it in my master class also, in the cadet classes also. So let's say making a small team, giving them a topic, giving them a situation, let's solve this. Okay, so let's say a team of 4, they are solving a situation, and let them come up with a solution as a team. Okay,
So they're also learning teamwork while they are coming up with the solution.
Absolutely.
So these are the skills that are like indirectly being injected or like inculcated into them.
Absolutely. And those who are feeling underconfident, or the communication, they also speak.
Yeah.
Okay, so their confidence level is also boosting up. Okay, that's why this is what we try to give them a platform here, so that everybody can nurture themselves, and grow in such an environment, okay, where their personality can go to a next level. And that's what our vision is. Okay, because we don't want to create normal pilots. We are on a mission to produce the world class pilots. Okay, and I tell everyone, if you want to work with us, or so let's be in this mission to be a good pilots, let's be a professional pilots. Okay,
Yeah.
and
After all, it's not just like for the employment. You are really passionate about that thing.
And I'm telling you, it is so easy to produce CPL holders. I'm telling you.
Yeah, the difference between CPL holders and actual pilots is where we draw the line.
So CPL is what? Like,
it's just a license at the end of the day. It's like just another license.
Absolutely. You clear your DGCA exams, you finish your 200 hours, so whatever hours, you get your CPL, then what after that?
Yeah.
You have to be competent enough. You have to be skilled enough to get into airlines. Okay. So we try to create a competent, skilled pilots, so that they will be able to get absorbed in the soonest possible vacancy or opportunity they get in the airlines.
Yeah, one of the most important skill that I have seen around people or students here is they are so capable of passing on the knowledge. The day you become capable of doing that, being able to also let other people know what you understand is, I think, like the best achievement.
Absolutely.
Understanding by your own is one thing, and being able to train someone else or like being able to make the other person understand, that is another level of milestone. Like you really know everything to the depth of it is when you can teach the other person. So I've seen that around in students here a lot. That really is very appreciable. Yeah.
Other than that, in DGCA classes or cadet classes and other classes as well, we not only focus on DGCA exams or clearing the cadet exams, we focus a lot on their personalities, on their their communication, their leadership, their collaboration skills, their adaptive skills. So we actually focus on their non-technical skills as well, which is actually more important. Yeah, that's the idea of being a good pilot.
And what about emotional and mental health? Have you had any cadet or any aspiring student or anyone who has had issues like that, and you might have like helped them out with this situation? And how important do you think is mental health when becoming a pilot?
A lot, I know. Um, we have a scanner in our office. Whoever is undergoing any kind of, mentally depressed, feeling, or facing any kind of, issues in their life, uh, please fill the form. It is absolutely confidential. It just goes to me and Avdesh, and we personally counsel them. And we have counseled many students. Like last month, there was a case. One of our student was doing a flying training in one of the flying club, and some performance issues were going on. And I had a 45 minutes of conversation with him. And after 2 weeks, I got a good news from him that he cleared his last possible check ride and he's flying smoothly now. So I felt so good. And after that, and I got to know about this from him, and this matters a lot. A lot of people in this journey undergo a lot of, emotional, ups and downs.
Burnouts, and there's like a lot
Absolutely.
of stress. There's so
Absolutely.
much that students never signed up for that comes in this journey.
Yeah.
But I would just take this moment to really appreciate the initiative, because not all, because instructors or ground instructors or classes might just treat the students as students.
Yeah.
They would not really care about the students' personal lives as much.
Absolutely.
But it is really good that
Yeah.
when a student needs your help, even if they're not here, even if they're doing their flying already, you are there for them, which is a really good
So
initiative.
we have a set system here. Okay. And I personally, take a lot of initiative about this because I have myself have undergone a lot.
Mm.
I have been depressed, for many years. I have gone through a lot of struggles. So I know what it takes, or how does it takes a heavy toll on you. So I know the importance of this very, very well. Yeah.
And how did you cope with
I
all
mean,
these emotions while you were going through them?
there was no option at all, like to bounce back. Obviously, the bouncing back time was larger, initially. But that point of time, I think books really helped me a lot. Whenever I used to feel depressed, I just used to pick book. Okay. Or Golden Epaulettes also, kept us busy.
Being busy really helps, actually.
So what I used to do is, like, whenever I used to get a failure, I just used to divert my mind, something productive. But however, there were some challenging times also when I was not being able to do that, because it's so easy to say divert your mind, but it's not always, in your control. So there were so many years tough time when you were not being able to, but there was no option. And I do remember I was not being able to lift myself from the bed. Yeah. So yeah, but that's a part of life. But now, like now, after this, seeing so many, failures, rejections, I think now the rebouncing time have gone very, very smaller now.
Yeah, I feel like rejection sometimes just teach you more than anything else. It just makes you
Absolutely.
stronger, if anything.
Absolutely. And you need a lot of resilience in this field. All the sparring pilots. Yeah, resilience is very, very important. Yeah.
So, if you had to give your 2 cents to anybody who is going through a mental burnout right now, what would it be?
I would say, time is never constant. Okay. And it's like a sine curve. If it's down, it will definitely go up. Just, just make one target and just, follow it. Yeah.
So when I talk to students, a lot of them come up to me saying their parents are not convinced, or maybe it's just a lot of pressure on their parents, and then they're also like the parents are concerned about their kids' safety in this field since it's considered to be riskier or something. What do you have to say for them? Like, is there anything that we can possibly tell to the parents that can change their mind?
So I think when the students blames their parents, or I would say not blame, and whenever they say this, parents are not convinced. So we have to understand from the perspective of the parents. Like, none of the parents doesn't enjoy not fulfilling, their children's wish. Parents go up to us, parents can work 365 into 24 into 7 to fulfill the wish of their kids. Uh, मतलब हिंदी में बोलूँ तो रिक्शा भी चला लेंगे पेरेंट्स अपने बच्चों के लिए, right?
Even for me, I feel like it would have been nothing if it wasn't for my parents' support. I
Yeah.
couldn't have gotten where I am at right now, or like anything at all.
Right. So parents अपने बच्चों के लिए they can go to a very large extent in an ethical way. They can go to up to any extent. But the student have to understand why their parents are not convinced. Whether a parent are able to gauge, sense that my children are really serious about this. When they will start gauging this sense, they will definitely support you. Even if you just out of one day just tell you to dad or mom, I want to be a pilot. That's not fair, to your parents. If what you're doing about it, okay, I have seen, you just want to be a pilot, you just watching some, just some few reels, you got influenced. But what are you doing about it? Okay, are you really watching good educational content? If you're really going in depth about it, if you're really flying simulators at home, if you're really talking about it, I mean, talking about means you're really talking the quality about it, then parents will start gauging this. Parents will start absorbing this. Give some time to your parents also. All those, I would say to all those aspiring pilots, just don't be harsh on them. And just because, like if I tell you about me, when after my 12th, I asked my dad, he went from Jaipur to Delhi just to buy a SPL book at that point of time. And then when I shared him that, Papa, this is the total, cost investment involved. So he didn't say no to me, but, he was not, very comfortable about it. Like I sense it that he's not comfortable because it would have taken a really heavy toll on him. But I did not persisted him. If I would have persisted him, if I would have really shown a lot of, interest in this field at that point of time, he would have definitely have done this. And whenever he did this, like when I quit my corporate job, whenever he did this, then I would say ki I did it for my dad. So when I switched my career, so he supported me a lot in terms of education loan, paying my high AMIs. And when I was getting rejected of rejections after rejections, it was like I bounced back thinking about, because my dad has sacrificed a lot for me, I don't have an option to surrender. I have to bounce back strongly, so I think the responsibility, I was carrying of my sacrifices of my dad have kept me, stronger and, give me the strength to bounce back. And I think because of his sacrifices only where I am today. Yeah.
So, do you have any message to the parents that you would like to give them?
I think a financial planning, and if you are really gauging this, if your student really talking a lot about is really going in depth about it, then I think yes, you should really support them. They need financial help at this point of time, and I hope that they will repay the loan very very soon. Yeah.
For sure. That is all for today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Captain
you.
Deval.
Yeah.
I hope we cleared most of your doubts and able to give you a better understanding of
Yeah.
what it takes to build a career in aviation. That wraps up our today's podcast at Golden Epaulettes Aviation. I hope we could clear all your doubts and give you a better understanding of what it takes to build a career in aviation. And thank you, Captain Deval, for sharing your insights and your experiences. They really put in a lot.
Thanks a lot.
And for any more discussions that you want us to do for the next time, drop down in the comment section. Thank you for tuning in.